we are going to keep this pretty quick. There's some weeks that I really want to get into stuff, and then there's some weeks I'm like, okay, this is what's really helped me in my business, and I just want to share it with you. As simple as that. It's not going to be, full of information, but this has helped Austin and I. Like, we can't stop talking about each week, like how much it has helped us, this concept. We got this idea from a podcast, but the podcast, like, y'all, the language that this guy uses is like almost offensive. But it was recommended. They were like, hey, just listen to this one episode. And the content is really good, but I don't want to share the podcast because it's like embarrassing how bad it is. Like, you can't even listen to it like with anyone around you. That's how bad it is. But the content is good. So I'm just going to share the content without y'all having to listen to the language. I'm embarrassed. Anyway, okay, it's powerless, and it's way more than just what you think. It's about helping you do the most important things, but it's in a very specific way. But before we go into that, I want to talk about some housekeeping things real quick. So I just want to remind you, don't forget about the call on the 27th of June with Emma Chesmore. It's going to be so good. Just put that on your calendar right now. I know Stephanie and I will be out of town. I'm going to like pull it up for everybody and like have her just call it, run the call. I'm going to be at a church camp, but I'm going to be on the call. I don't know if Stephanie will be able to, but it will be recorded. Okay, another thing I just want to clear up really quick. You can and should book individual calls with me. You can and you should. I used to pay for this system that like you could schedule them when I scheduled them or whatever, but I ended up canceling it. So just for now, like, just email me, and if we're local, like, let's meet up. I met up with Stephanie, and I just felt like it was so helpful for her, and it was helpful for me to like see where she was. And I want to meet up with her like monthly. And you should be booking calls with me regularly. So just email me. Just be like, hey, I need to book a call with you, and we'll get a time together to do that, and just kind of like mastermind together and figure out what may be working, what may not be working, and how we can kind of like figure out the best thing for you. The third thing is the podcast that I posted. I don't know if you guys know who, obviously we all know who Rachel Hollis is. Girl, wash your face. So she has a podcast called Diaz Podcast. I don't know how you say it, but I wrote down here the what's it called? The description. Find your platform. And it's about a bold conversation with fellow business powerhouses that provides the listener with real life tangible takeaways. So it's a business podcast that interviews entrepreneurs. So like she had Erin Condren on, like she has like big time people on there that talk about how they started their business and then how they finish it. I can't get enough of this particular podcast. I just am listening to all of them. But the reason I found this one, like I think Rachel Hollis has a different podcast, but this particular one is for business owners. And the reason I found it is because Lindsay Matway is like, holy cow, like the top coach, but she's not like one of the top coaches, but like 5 of the top coaches are under her, are personally sponsored by her. So she is incredibly successful in this business. And Rachel Hollis interviews her, and she literally tells you, I don't hear much from Lindsay Matway just because I feel like on her Instagram and stuff, like she's very like, I put in the hard work, my business is doing great. She doesn't really need to like be hustling like she used to. And she literally is like, hey, this is what I did, and this is how I like got motivated. And she worked really hard, and it was so good for me to hear that podcast. So it's the MLM Secrets to Success, Finding Your Platform. So go listen to that podcast. I posted it. You can search it. Go follow Lindsay Matway on Instagram, all that stuff. Okay. And then the movie on August 2nd. So I don't know if Tanya's on here. Is she on here? Yeah, she is. She made a point. She was like, hey, if we can like all like go to dinner and like go watch the movie, I think we should do that. I was like, that's a great idea. So let's do that. Like, if y'all want to grab your ticket, I got mine at the Avalon. I should have thought that through and like gotten budgets together. I'm so sorry, I'm the worst. But get your ticket and let's go to Avalon and have a little dinner and then go watch the movie together. I thought that'd be so fun. So Crystal's in town, Stephanie's in town, Tanya's in town, Alex Shook's in town. I gotta chat. Hang on. Yes, I was wanting to do that, the movie. Yeah, so get your ticket and we can all like hang out together. That'd be so fun. Okay, awesome. Okay, so this is seriously what has kept me on track for a month. I feel like a lot of times I sit down and I'm like, I don't know what to do next. And I write a to-do list, but I'm like kind of okay. And I shouldn't be this way, but deep down I'm like, okay, if I get done 2 to 3 things, because on my list, they're like big things. It's like write a call for someone. That takes a long amount of time, right? So, or it could be as simple as like make the bed. Okay, like that's how my list usually goes. I'm like, okay, if I can get like 3 things done, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. It's no big deal. And I just move my list to the next day and then move my list to the next day. And it just kind of starts to build up on each other. I don't know if y'all have ever done that before, but I've been doing something called the power list. So this is how it works. Okay. Step 1, write down the 5 most important things that you need to do. Now, they're not just anything. Okay. They are things that you struggle with doing. Okay. So is it hard for you to exercise? Is it hard for you to get in personal development? Are you struggling with inviting people? What about working on content, working on posts, working on blog posts, working on, Facebook lives you want to do, Instagram lives you want to do, little mini boot camps that you want to do? Is it early mornings? Is it making the bed? I really want to I used to be such a good habit of making the bed. I don't know what happened. It just fell off my list. But here is the thing. Like for me, I would never write down exercise on my power list because that has never been an issue for me. I would not write down inviting people because I invite people every single day. The things that I'm writing down is reading 10 pages of personal development. I'm working on content because that's really difficult for me. Only the things that are hard for you, but are also going to move your business forward. So exercising, that actually does move your business forward, right? That is working on yourself, becoming a product of the product. Personal development obviously is moving your business forward, but also maybe making the bread, like maybe that gives you a fresh sense of purpose and it helps you. It's been proven to make your bed in the morning. It like sets your day up well because you like accomplish a task, and those tasks, they snowball on each other. Whatever the case might be, like it's going to be personal for everyone. Okay. There's a book called Eat That Frog. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It's on my book list. I'm rereading it currently. And it talks about like how to eat the ugliest frog first. I don't know why that they describe it that way. Which basically means do the hardest thing first and complete it, right? Like actually get through and complete it. And they say that that's just like what the most successful people do. It's so easy to do the things that are not ugly, that are like fun and pretty to do, like sitting on Canva and making a beautiful like Facebook cover photo. Yes, that is fun. I actually have enjoyed doing that in the past, but that is not an ugly frog. That is a pretty frog that is fun to do. What is the ugliest frog that you need to do, and write them down in no particular order. They just need to get done. So for example, like I said, I wouldn't write exercise down on my list, even though it is a vital behavior. I don't have a problem doing it. So I said, read 10 pages of personal development because it's easy. It's so easy for that to be pushed on the back burner for me. To like sit down and read has become the hardest thing. And it used to not be. I don't know what happened. My life. Okay. So my list today, this is my list today. I finished all my emails, write content for Clearly Confident, go through new applications, which sometimes that is like hard for me to do every single day. I need to send testimonials for a website to the girl, my part-time girl, and I need to finish my blog post on staying fit at age 55 and over. Okay, so those are my 5 things to do. Now, at the end of the day, you're going to cross the things out as they happen, as they're done. It may be simple, but it's not, because these are all big things. To finish all my emails, That took me a long time to actually write down a full day of content or a full course of content for Clearly Confident. That takes me about an hour and a half. Going through applications, that depends. Today it took me like 30 minutes. Sending testimonials for my website, that took me probably about an hour and a half because I really had to go through like my Facebook page and stuff like that. And then also writing a blog post on staying fit. That's actually something my mom has wrote for me because she's obviously over 55. And then I went through and just like made edits that I wanted to make. So as it was finished, I would cross them off one at a time. Now, at the end of the day, you're either going to write down a W for winning the day, or you're going to write down an L for losing the day. If you cross off everything that you need to do, you're going to write a W. And if you don't, you're going to write an L. Now listen, you're going to have L's. I've had a lot of L's so far this month, okay? Like sometimes that is a lot of stuff. Where's my list? That's a lot of stuff to do for one day. Those are 5 really important things. And that's just the things that are hard for me to do, right? There's lots of other things that are easy for me to do, like editing pictures, and I need to post on Instagram stories, and I need to respond to comments. Like those are fun, but I still have to do them, right? But the most important thing is that you look at the week and you're like, okay, did I win, 3 or 4 out of the 7 days this week? If you did, then you won the whole week, and you should feel good about that. But don't be afraid to put the hard tasks on your list and eat those frogs first. Because what I have learned is that those are the things that are making me the most productive and actually making me money. Making a pretty picture on Canva is not making me money. People don't care about that. Maybe they do, but that's also something I've delegated because I don't feel like that's a good use of my time. So then the next day, you're going to make a new list and continue to put the hard things on your list until it becomes second nature, okay? So for example, let's say that exercising is something that you are having to put on your list every single day because it is hard for you to do. And you cross it off and you cross it off and you cross it off. And all of a sudden it starts to become easy. It starts to become second nature. It starts to become a habit, right? That is when you take it off the list and you replace it with something new that you feel like you need to work on. So for me, like writing content should be something I do the first thing every morning because I'm so fresh and so productive and alert and creative. That should be the first thing I sit down to do. Also, emails should probably be the second thing that I do. It should be something that I don't need to write on my list. The fact that that's even hard for me to get through is crazy, but it just is. It's just hard for me. But when those 2 things become second nature to me, that it's not even really an option, it's just something that I just do, those things come off and I will replace it with something else that I see needs pressing. Maybe it is to write a blog post every single day. That seems crazy, but also planning my posts. I don't plan my posts and I really should be better at that. That's something that I should sit down and start doing, but I only have 5 things that I can write down. And when you start writing down more things, that's when you just get overwhelmed. And that's when you're like, you look at this list of 20 things and you're like, well, there's no way I could get through all of that anyway. I might as well only get like the top 3 done, or the 3 easiest things, right? The 3 prettiest frogs. So continue to put things on your list over and over and over and over until they become second nature and easy for you. So just a couple things business-wise that should be on your power list. Posting on Instagram and Facebook or whatever, working out, working on yourself, inviting people. I just want, like Lindsay Matway, have y'all listened to that podcast yet? If you have, can you chat on here and tell me if you have? Even if you haven't, just chat for me so I can see what I'm working with here and see how I want to go about this. What she talks about, she will tomorrow. Okay, awesome. So she talks about how she made it a goal to, okay, cool. Thanks, guys. Holly said she started this morning but hasn't finished it. She made it a goal to speak to 100 people a day. Like she was so hungry that was her goal, to speak to 100 people. Okay. And I'm like, holy cow. She listened to most of it. Okay, cool. Thanks, Tanya. uh I'm like, holy cow, like that is like the backbone of her business. And like if you look at the top coach of, and like that's not everybody's goal. Like my goal is not to be the top coach of Beachbody. Like that is not my goal. But if you look at who the top coach is, and you look at who she, and the top coach is Lindsay Matway's personally sponsored coach, okay? And if you look, it's Melanie Mitro is the top coach, and you see like so she does like transformation photos. She was just like such a normal regular mom, like a stay-at-home mom, just didn't have social media, like maybe had 10 friends on Facebook, like was in the PTA. Like she was not like a cool mom, she was just like a regular, she was overweight, she just was a mom, like the definition of a mom. And Lindsay still made it a point to talk to her about a program, and still made it a point to talk to her about a coaching opportunity. And Melanie Mitchell always talks about how her husband was like not on board at all. In fact, he was like, what? Like she did it behind his back because he told her no so many times. And she used like Mother's Day money or something to buy her coach subscription. And she like didn't tell him for a while because she was so hungry for it. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like honestly, there are definitely people that come across and I'm like, I don't know if I would like not want her, but like if it's worth my time, if I feel like she'd be a good fit or whatever, just by looking at that, which is just terrible. But what I learned from that is like Lindsay didn't discriminate at all. She was like, I'm going to invite and talk to as many people as I can because it is so true. You never know. You never know. You have no idea what these people have been through, what their backs may be against the wall. They might have a lot of like a certain niche, a certain knowledge that you don't have. I mean, there's just so many things that I'm like, oh my gosh, I really need to be a little bit more open-minded. Because for me, I always look for people that are like me, like that are, you know, close to my age, maybe in the same situation, like maybe newly married, maybe has a baby. I don't know. That's kind of like what in my head, I'm like, oh, that's my niche market. When really, no, everybody is my client, right? I have a niche, but like everybody is an option, and I need to get my head in that place. And I'm like, I need to start really inviting more, because at the end of the day, inviting is just trying to close the sale. And Loy always talks about sales and closing sales, and he says at the end of the day, if you don't ask for the sale, like what are you doing? You talk to people and you talk to people, but then you close the sale. And by closing the sale is simply inviting and being like, hey, you need to be a part of this, whether it is a coach opportunity or whether it is a client opportunity. Like, it is your obligation. If you feel like you could genuinely help somebody in a coach opportunity or in a fitness opportunity, it is your obligation to invite them. If your heart is not there, if your heart is like, oh my gosh, like I don't want them to think this, I don't want them to think this. Well, I'm going to tell you something right now. I'm about to get on my preaching stool right now. If your mindset is in a place where you are so worried about where other people are going to be thinking about you or how they're going to see you as you are inviting them, your heart is in the wrong place, because that means that your heart is about you and not about them. You need to be them focused, not you focused. I will never forget when I started doing Toastmasters. I was so nervous every single speech, every single time. I felt so sick to my stomach, like literally could not like sleep the night before, right? I was so nervous. And my dad was like, hey, do you want to know why you're so nervous? I was like, yes, like why am I so nervous? And he's like, because your heart is focused on you. You are focused on the way other people are going to think about you. You're thinking about how they're going to think about the way you're walking, the way you're standing. You're thinking about how they're going to perceive the way you talk. If you focus on the information and how it could help other people, that is when you will relax. When you start focusing on other people and not yourself. And the minute he said that, the minute I really comprehended and processed that information, everything changed for me. Because guess what? It takes me no second thought to get on Instagram looking like a hot mess, because guess what? It's not about me. It's about the information that I have that I feel like will help somebody else. And if I need if I feel the obligation to help somebody, it is not about how they are going to perceive me. It's about, hey, I love you and I want to serve you. And so I'm going to invite and ask you to be a part of this. And that's how you do it. Like, that's how you feel confident and comfortable, is when you stop making it about you and start making it about everybody else. That's my little preaching moment, my impromptu preaching moment I wanted to have there. Also, expanding your network. I did a call that was like your power hour, and like the couple of things that you should do to expand your network. And a lot of that is just through Instagram. So just a quick example, something that I'm wearing is a Victoria's Secret sports bra. So maybe I would go to Victoria's Secret's like sport Instagram and go and look and see who is following Victoria's Secret sport, or maybe who has commented on a picture or liked a picture. Check out her Instagram feed, maybe like a couple of posts, comment on a couple of things, maybe watch her stories and send a message through her stories just to say, hey, like, yeah, I totally agree, or you look so cute, or whatever, just to make a connection, expanding your network. You want to learn more about that, go watch that call. Personal development, asking current clients to join your team. This is something I'm about to dive in heavily with, because just like fitness, I think that the business could change someone's life, not just financially. Well, yes, obviously financially, but also like the fulfillment. And I think just the opportunity to work hard for something that's so much bigger than just like, that has to do with you. It has to do with other people. I feel obligated to do that. God's like been putting that on my heart. Checking in with your clients, checking into your coaches, maybe booking calls with your coaches, or booking calls with your clients to ask them about the coaching opportunity, creating content for clients and creating content for coaches. So like, I'm constantly creating content for all of you, and constantly creating content for clients and for my self-discipline boot camp, my webinars, like asking people to, when I say webinars, I mean my Zoom call that I did that needed to be in a webinar, but I just didn't have all the information ready. But creating that call to basically get people to join, which has been I've had over 100 people join in the last 30 days just from that one call. So if you are not creating a call similar to that, and I can send it to you or post it or whatever, you are crazy. You are literally crazy not to do that, because first of all, you're just sharing your heart. And second of all, like, people want to see how you present the opportunity to join such a big company, right? It's a mass produced company, and people usually feel yucky about that. But when you present it in a certain way, people all of a sudden just feel all in, because you feel like, it feels like you're on their side when you can sit there and be like, hey, I totally get where you're coming from. I totally get why you're thinking these things, but here's why you shouldn't be thinking these things. Da, 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 da. You're basically getting it. That's sales. You're getting in their head and speaking to what they already are thinking, right? And you're able to do that in a call where you sound genuine and you're sharing your heart and sharing your personality. And if you guys want that call, like I don't have a template really, because Carly edited it for me, but I have the content that you are more than welcome to have. I can share it with you if you want that. Chat me and tell me if you want it. If enough people want it, I will just post it somewhere. Okay, I'm getting good. Okay, I will just post it in the Google Doc that I have pinned. Also, shout out to this girl, Madison. This girl, I can't remember her last name. I have multiple Madisons. But she's like, hey, I've been going through your calls, and I have like 3 challenge packs sold and 2 people on Beachbody On Demand. And I'm like, that is so awesome. So that content, y'all, that Google Doc that I'm still working on, it is some good content. If you haven't gotten through that, please make that a priority. And then just inviting coaches. So your goal should be, so Emerald basically just means having a coach on each side, your left and your right, your left and your right. My goal really is just to do Emerald, like have a coach on my left, have a coach on my right, have a coach on my left, have a coach on my right, over and 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 over again. Like, that's the only goal that I have, really. It's hard because you don't know how each person is going to do, but you just put left and right, left and right. That's kind of what my mindset is. It's like, that's all I can really do is just multiply my Emerald process over and over. And really that's just expanding my network and having conversations and doing a call. And, you know, like I'm going to do a call soon that's very similar to the one that I did about the program, also about the coaching opportunity and how to like build a business and build a side hustle. That's coming. It's just, you know, also, how should we go about scheduling a call with you? Holly, let's start with email. Just email me and be like, hey, I want to schedule a coaching call with you just to help me know. And then I'll send you like 3 options that I can do. And you're going to respond with the one that works best for you. Actually, I take that back. Email me and say, hey, I want to schedule a coaching call with you. And then say the best times are, you know, Monday mornings or Tuesday afternoons or midday Wednesday. Like give me a couple of options and then I'll respond back with the best option for me, because everybody's work schedule is so different. I can be a little bit more flexible. So just respond with the options that are best for you. And that's really all I had. Yeah, 30 minutes. That's what I wanted. Any questions? I'm a teacher. I'm a summer, or you're on teacher summer. Your schedule's open. That is the dream, girl. This is the time. I know that you're busy and all, Holly, building a business, you know, no big deal, but this is the time to build for sure. Anybody else? No? Okay, well, that's really all I had. I hope that you don't think I'm crazy getting on my soapbox. Trying to build it now so I don't have to go back to work. Yes, girl. Do it. Being an entrepreneur is the best life ever. All right, I'll talk to you girls soon. Email me, Holly, and we'll set up a call. All right, bye.